Okay, let's see. Testing. Can you hear me? Happy Monday, everyone. Make sure. Okay, good. We are good. So this case is crazy to me. For those of you who have been following me for a while, this case sort of reminds me of the Cain Velasquez case, where it's almost kind of the same thing, where these people with charges against child SA are let out on extremely low bail, and then they get tangled up with the families again. The fathers try to protect their child, and then things go wrong, you know? And in this case, though, this one is even more wild to me. So I'm going to just recap it, and I probably should, normally I don't do this, but I should probably give a trigger warning because it involved child SA. Oh my God, Christina's here. Hi. Okay. And hopefully Lori sees this, because she was one of the ones who she asked me several times, because I think she lives really close to here. And she was saying, like, you should really look into the Aaron Spencer case. You should look into it. And I've kind of heard about it, but then I started looking into it, and perfect timing, because a bunch of filings came in recently. And I actually already have everything linked in the description for the video for you guys if you want to look, because most of now that the gag order has been lifted, all these things, you can download them and read them. And I just can't even, there's a pretrial hearing is on Wednesday. So we're going to get all caught up before then. And so let's go in. First, I'm going to give you guys background. Have any of you heard of this case? Yeah, Khaleesi's driving. Okay, well, and there's a lot of crazy things like with this case. I already posted on X some of the red flags. We'll get there, but let me just read a quick article so that, we can all get caught up on like the basics of this case for anyone who's just coming in. Let me share this tab instead. Okay, there we go. Okay, so more, and this won't let me make it larger. I don't know why. Okay, well, can you guys see this? Okay. All right, I'm just going to read it. So basically, it says more details on the father's offing of man accused of essaying his 13-year-old daughter. So after the Arkansas Supreme Court ordered the court files be made public, we now have a clearer picture of what happened the night Aaron Spencer offed Michael Fosler, a Lonoke County man who had previously been arrested and charged with essay offenses against Spencer's teenage daughter. The court's records had been sealed pursuant to a broad gag order from Circuit Judge Barbara Elmore, but last month the Arkansas Supreme Court struck down the gag order and criticized Elmore's actions. According to records obtained by the Arkansas Times, Spencer initially called 911 after 1 a.m. on October 8, 2024 to report his 13-year-old daughter missing. Spencer told police he'd been awakened by his dog barking. The dogs are amazing, by the way. Like he probably wouldn't even known this had happened if it wasn't for the dog. All right, awakened by his dog barking, went to his daughter's room to check on her and saw she was missing. He said he suspected she was with Fosler, 67, who had been arrested in July and charged with 43 counts, including essay of a minor and internet stalking of a child related to Fosler's pursuit of Spencer's then 13-year-old daughter. The arrest affidavit for Spencer says he went to look for his daughter and Fosler after calling 911 the first time. The Lonoke County Sheriff's Office contacted Cabot Police to ask them to check a specific address. Prior to hearing back from Cabot Police, however, 911 dispatch got a second call from Spencer, who said he had located the man who had kidnapped his daughter and his daughter, but that Fosler was dead on the side of the road and that he had no choice. The affidavit contains Spencer's recounting of how the deadly interaction unfolded. Spencer saw Fosler's white Ford F-150 turn into Highway 236 East towards Fosler's home. He turned around and chased after Fosler's vehicle, flashing his lights and honking his horn to get Fosler to pull over. When the two vehicles arrived at the intersection of Highway 236 East and 13 North, Spencer rammed his truck into the rear of Fosler's, sending the F-150 into the ditch. The affidavit continues. Spencer then stated he exited his vehicle with his firearm in hand and ordered Fosler out of his vehicle to lay down in the ditch. Spencer stated that he observed his daughter trying to exit the passenger side of the vehicle, but it appeared that Fosler had grabbed her and stopped her from getting out. Spencer then stated that Fosler exited his vehicle and had something in his hand, but Spencer did not know what it was. Spencer stated that Fosler then lunged towards him, saying, "F you." Spencer stated that he then opened fire on Fosler, emptying his weapon before jumping on Fosler and pistol whipping him. It's my favorite part. And pistol whipping him. Spencer then stated that he got his daughter out of the vehicle and returned to his truck, where he reloaded his weapon and called 911. According to the police report, Spencer shot Fosler in the chest, arms, and abdomen with a Glock 19 Gen 4 pistol. The report does not say how many times each body part was hit, though a standard magazine for a Glock 19 holds 15 rounds, not in California. Regarding the pistol whipping of Fosler, the report notes that there was blood on the outside of the weapon when police recovered it. Spencer bonded out of Lonoke County Jail the following day. The case quickly drew attention both inside Arkansas and beyond. On November 27th, prosecutors charged Spencer with second-degree murder and commission of a felony with a firearm. That same day, Spencer's attorney, Aaron Castanelli and Michael Kaiser issued a statement calling Spencer a decorated war hero who protected his country and a loving father whose heroic actions protected his family. They said Fosler reportedly violated his child and kidnapped her in the dark of night to continue his assault on her. The statement criticizes prosecutors for bringing charges against Spencer at all, accused prosecutors of perpetrating those horrors instead of protecting legitimate victims and punishing true criminal offenders, and thanked those who had voiced their outrage over the treatment of Aaron, his child, and the rest of his family had suffered. The following week, prosecutors asked Judge Elmore for an order preventing Spencer's attorneys and anyone else from saying anything about the case to anyone. Spencer's attorney filed a 19-page response to the prosecutor's motion on December 9th. This was last year. Less than 30 minutes later, Elmore granted the prosecutor's motion and entered a gag order. She also sealed the entire case file despite neither side requesting it. Spencer appealed the order, and in March, the Arkansas Supreme Court stayed the case pending their decision. On May 29th, the High Court struck down the gag order and sent the case back to Lonoke County for further proceedings. A pretrial hearing for the case is scheduled. Okay, well, that's wrong. The pretrial is now on Wednesday. So that is, sorry, that was kind of a long read, but I just wanted to make sure I got you guys all the details, because it gets even crazier. So that judge, okay, well, let's go back to my slides. But that judge, she's the judge overseeing this case is the same judge who had released Michael Fosler to begin with. So no wonder she wanted to seal this entire case, because this was all her doing. Had she done the right thing, had she, the 42 felony child SA charges, and he gets out, he basically only had to pay $5,000. It was $50,000 bail, but he only had to pay, $5,000 cash. And he was out 3 days later. I mean, this is insane. This judge and the gag order was so extreme. We're going to get there. Sorry, I'm getting way ahead of myself. But first, I just want to say, here's Lori. So, thank you so much for this super chat, Lori Jane. I really appreciate it. Well, you're kind of the one who pushed me, because I remember you mentioned it once, and I had kind of remembered that with CJ. And then you mentioned it again, and I was like, okay, she's for real. Like, she wants me to cover this. And then you said I think it was you or a relative who lives like 15 miles away from this. And I was like, okay, now we really have to look into it. And then once I started reading, it definitely resonated with me, because it really does feel like the Cain Velasquez case, which is just like, I was so close to that case, and it still hurts my heart what happened there. But this kind of reminds me of it. But this case is, there's so many bad things wrong with this case. So anyways, you guys can thank Lori if you are interested in this case now, because we're getting a little break from Blake Lively to go back to my roots, which is true crime. So let's go. And we haven't even gotten to the first slide. Okay, that was the first slide. So we won't read all the documents. I already linked to them, but this was one from his side that I just thought was important to read, especially this part, because it said that It says they were terrified that Fosler would not only essay their child, but that he would kill her or disappear with her, knowing that she was the critical witness to crimes that would put him in prison for the rest of his life. And I think that to me is like a really key part of all of this, because this wasn't like a vigilante kind of offing, you know what I mean? It wasn't like, okay, you know, he went and hunt this guy down for what he did, like he found out about it and went to hunt him down or anything like that. This was an active kidnapping. The 67-year-old, I don't even know the right word for him, like that won't get me kicked off YouTube, but like this 67-year-old whatever pervert had his teenage 13-year-old daughter in the car in the middle of the night. God knows what would have happened. He would have essayed her again, maybe offed her to get rid of the witness for his case that was coming up. Oh yeah, that's what it is. PDF file. Thanks. You guys are so smart. So yeah, this PDF file, you know, I mean, so the fact that they're charging him, and the reason they're charging him with second degree, they're saying it's premeditated. I'm going to show you the one little part, the only reason they're saying why, and it's disgusting. But it's because when he had very first found out about this, we'll get there in a second. When he had very first found out about this, he had said, okay, we'll get there. Let's go to the timeline. Should we go to the timeline? Okay. What did you say, Wrathful? I would never be mad at my husband if he offed someone who did that something bad to our kids. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, what was he supposed to do? This is a combat war veteran. Okay, he served our country. He he swore to protect our country, and to protect people who are in danger. His daughter was in danger. I just if I just I can't I have no words for what they're putting him through, and we're going to get there because it's even worse what they tried to do to him. All the branches of government are shit. Well, actually, I was so impressed with the Supreme Court of Arkansas because they overturned her gag order and called her out for why. And they actually said she should remove herself, and for whatever reason she hasn't, and that just blows my mind. Christina says there was an emergency hearing for the Blake case today, but no one knows what it was about. I know. Well, because we saw that it came out after the time of the emergency hearing. They're like, "Oh, here's the information for the public that we're going to release to the public like an hour after the meeting's over." you know? So, whatever. But I did download the exhibit that had the sealed portions of the Jed Wallace transcript. That I'm looking forward to reading that because I think all of his transcripts have been interesting. Um, she should have to go to prison for that. I know. I know. So let's keep going. So let's quickly I just want to go over the timeline so you guys can see everything. So basically, this is the PDF file, okay? So July 8th, 2024, he was arrested. And then on July 8th, 3 days later, he was released on bail. This is what he used to look like, okay? Those are former pictures of him. Yes, he used to be a cop in Indiana, and he was also a resource officer at a school. And then he moved here to Arkansas. Yes. Okay. And then October 8th, Fosler kidnaps the 14-year-old, I guess she was the now 14-year-old daughter, and is offed by Spencer. And then November 2024, Spencer's charged with second-degree murder. Let me make this bigger. Yeah, did knowingly cause the death of another person under circumstances manifesting extreme indifference to the value of human life, a Class A felony. Michael Fosler against the peace and dignity of the state of Arkansas, and then they gave him an enhancement charge for using a weapon. I mean, okay. So, and then May 29th of this year, the gag order was reversed because the judge, like I said, she had sealed everything without it even being asked for by the parties. Okay. And then apparently, like the hearing was supposed to be it was supposed to be open to the public, and she even made that where like the public wasn't allowed to enter. And then so this is definitely not going to be streamed. But I thought that like in the reversal, and actually I highlighted that part, but you know what, you guys, I want to just read this one judge's part in it. We should go to the whole thing because he said he called her out, like totally called her out, the whole thing. Let me get to it real quick. His name was Oh man. 1 second. His name was. Okay, so that must have been from a different document. Hold on 1 second. Oh yeah, because they filed the whole thing with the court. Okay. 1 second. Oh, let's just we'll read this part. But I know it is in the docket because I just seen it. Because that was in May. Order for brief all motions apply. Sorry, you guys. I thought I had this one pulled up and I didn't. Motion to exclude. Order, motion, file under seal. Okay, well, I don't know why I just somehow lost that, but I know it was in here earlier. So whatever, we'll just read. Good thing I clipped out the part I liked. So we'll just read that part. Is that okay? It's all good, DFJ. We can chat. Okay, sorry. You guys, I thought I was so organized with this. And then that's like the one for whatever reason I didn't pull up. But it's okay. We'll just read this part. So his name was Nicholas Brawny. And he called her out. He said, public officials aren't immune from public criticism, judges and prosecutors included. Because the circuit court's gag order violates that principle, I join the majority's opinion granting the writ and vacating the order. But the sweeping order is only part of the troubling pattern of attempts to shield this case from public view, beginning with a non-public arraignment and ending with a handwritten note sealing the entire case from public view. We cannot allow that pattern to continue unchecked. So I've invoked this court's superintending authority and reassign this matter. So I would invoke this court's superintending authority and reassign this matter to a new circuit judge. Okay, so you guys, this was in May. Okay. And the same judge is still overseeing this case, if you can believe that. This is I just want to show you an example. So now I know how we can find it because it was after she sent this email to the attorneys. This is from the email from Judge Barbara Elmore. She says, attorneys, as you both must be aware, the Supreme Court vacated the gag order. In accordance, I expect a mandate after the time for a rehearing reached its limits. Once the mandate is received, access to information will be as ordered. If there is to be a hearing on the matter, please contact Ms. Blair to schedule a hearing. Judge Elmore. I mean, whatever. I can't with this person. Oh yeah, so let's keep going. October 25th. This is why this case it gets even crazier. We're not even at like the halfway crazy mark yet. So on October 25th, so that was 2 months ago, this guy's a legend. Aaron Spencer's announced he is running for sheriff of his town. So the only thing I think that would prevent him from winning is if he, somehow goes to jail and is found guilty, which I just can't imagine happening. So absolute legend. So upcoming. So Wednesday, December 17th, we have a pretrial hearing. And then January 26th is going to be the murder trial. And I said, go figure. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Go figure, no cameras. This judge is not allowing cameras. So the only way we are going to get information is if people are in the court, because this judge, though, like really, this judge, this is, here, hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can. Yeah, so this is Judge Barbara Elmore. Okay. And I said, what the actual F is wrong with you? She released Fosler on $50K bail, which was $5,000 cash bond for 42 felony pedo charges. And when I say that, like, I'm not even exaggerating. Let me share this tab instead. Can you guys see this? Let me go to the main one. Like, I'm just going to scroll through this real quick for you all. Look, these are all vacated because he's now deceased. But like, look at, this is 1 through like internet stalking of a child, internet stalking, SA 4th degree, SA 4th degree. And these were all from what happened with his daughter. All these charges resulted after that arrest for what happened with his daughter. Indecency with a child, like possessing, like pandering. I mean, look at this. This is like not even, this is like seriously. Oh, wow. There's another one. So 43, the 43. Some of the articles say 42, some say 43, details. So I said, so, and she's overseeing Spencer's case despite recommendation from the Supreme Court to excuse herself from this case. And I said, no wonder she put a gag order. In my opinion, she's 100% responsible for what happened here. That's just my opinion. This is all allegedly, in my opinion. And I said that this was not vigilante. I said the daughter was a key witness in Fosler's upcoming case. It was an active kidnapping, imminent danger. If this was a restraining order violation, I said Spencer veteran courageously saved his daughter. And that she's going to suffer more, like as if she hasn't suffered enough. That's who's always like the victims are going to end up being even more victimized. Like if now more than ever, she needs her dad. And there's just so much. So let me check in with the chat before we get to this slide, because like, how crazy is this case? How are you all doing? Are you all still with me? Let me just go back to here. Hopefully I haven't lost anyone. I know there was a lot of detail. I just wanted to make sure I got all the facts in there so that like, like we all can like kind of, because like there was a lot, but now like we have most of them, but then we're gonna get to some of the red flags. Oh, I saw Lori Jane. Oh, you're on your lunch break. Kenny, how are you having your lunch break so late? But I'm glad to see you here. It's always good to see you. Okay, so here's Lori. Lori said, "Oh my God, I'm so happy you're covering this. This happened about 20 miles from my cousin in Arkansas." I mean, this case is really crazy. She was just saying she was hoping you would come. Yes, I did. I'm so glad you came, Lori, because really, like, I wanted you to see this, and hopefully we can get people in that courtroom. I'm serious. And so the judge made a bad call. This guy got out, and now she wants the stuff sealed so no one can see it, right? But it's out there. We all see it. And the Supreme Court told her, like, hey, girl, get off this case. Like, you've already done enough damage and you made this arraignment secretive. Like, and then you did a handwritten order to seal the entire case without anyone asking for it. Like, what are you doing? Oh, yeah. I saw that one. Okay. They said we could call in, but it came. Oh, yeah. You guys are on the Blake Lively thing. Yeah, that was wild. Hey, Christy. Hey, DFJ, just tuned in. I'm late. Know of the case, but not the details. And I know of the case too, but I didn't even know some of this. Hey, at the beach, how are you? Okay. Your cousin says that the city is so crooked. Well, yeah. And they say the sheriff and the judge are trying their best to convict him. Well, yeah, that is very true. So let's get into some of this craziness, okay? So there's this missing, what just happened? There's this missing SD card from the dash cam, and now that link isn't working. So 1 second. Okay, well, we'll just go to the affidavit for that. So there was an SD card in the Michael Fosler's dash cam on his F-150, okay? And they just lost it, basically. And they said that, like, they had one of the officers wrote an affidavit, and they're just like, yeah, trust me, bro. Like, there's nothing on it. It was just a bunch of trees and stuff. And they're like, okay, well, that's like, doesn't make any sense. And so let me show you this affidavit. Okay, so this was from the sheriff's office. So it says, I, Detective Robbie McCain with the Lenoke County Sheriff's Office, after I've been duly sworn to make the following statements under oath. Let me just make sure you guys can still see this. Okay, good. So it says that I am employed as a detective with the Lenoke County Sheriff's Office, that on October 8, 2025, while investigating a homicide. Okay, so wouldn't that have been 24? Okay, but maybe it was 25. October 8th, it should have been 2024, I think, but let's just keep going. October 8th, 2025, while investigating a homicide in Lenoke County, I located a dash cam in a Ford F-150 belonging to the deceased Michael Fosler. The truck was in the process of being towed from the scene. I secured the dash cam and placed it into a manila envelope along with the other evidence found at the scene. While looking at the dash cam, I noticed that the dash cam had a micro SD card inserted into it. I took the micro SD card out of the dash cam and placed it into an adapter for a regular size SD card. To view the files, I placed the SD card into a card reader and opened it from on my computer. The SD card contained 4 files, and I reviewed each one. The only thing that can be seen is a face is a forward-facing view from Michael Fosler's truck showing the tree line in front of where the truck came to rest. All that can be seen in the videos are flashing blue and red lights. The first 3 videos were approximately 15 minutes long, and the fourth was less than 15 minutes. I pulled the SD card out, placed the micro SD card back into the dash cam, and placed it back into the original manila envelope. The dash cam was then sent to the Attorney General's office for further analysis. Sergeant Carla Lucas transported the dash cam to the Attorney General's office. I learned that the micro SD card was not in the dash cam from Special Agent Amber Kamler. I then searched the LCSO CID office for the SD card and could not find it. Sergeant Lucas' vehicle in which the dash cam was transported was also searched. The micro SD card has not been found. So then, that's not suspicious at all, right? So then they counter that, Spencer's team does, and it says following the filing of Spencer's motion, defense counsel tested the dash cam recovered from Fosler's truck and verified the state's version of events is technically implausible. And it says the affidavit of Jason Sachi attached as Exhibit A. I tried to get that, you guys. That one's not available. The visit further confirmed that Detective McCain did not follow policy, acted contrary to his training, and handled the SD card in a manner inconsistent with agency practices. And then it just says, the technical testing contradicts Detective McCain's affidavit. The functional testing of the dash cam contradicts his statements in several material respects. Powering down does not erase files. Testing shows that turning the dash cam off stops recording but does not delete existing footage, contradicting Detective McCain's belief that unplugging the device wipes the card. Dash cam records both front and rear. The dash cam records 2 streams at the same time, front and rear. And there's said his statement said that they only had the forward-facing files on the card, which cannot be reconciled with how the device operates. They said the dash cam creates multiple directories for front and rear recordings. The dash cam creates multiple directories to store its recording from front and rear cameras. McCain's claim that he saw only 4 files, all forward-facing, is inconsistent with the dash cam's normal operation. And it says G-Sensor would have locked the relevant footage. The same impacts that triggered the black box event in Fosler's truck would also have triggered the dash cam G-Sensor, locking the recordings from both cameras and preventing them from being overwritten. The state's assertion that the dash cam contained only recordings made after the incident is incompatible with the device's design, which simultaneously records 2 views, stores them in separate directories, locks files during shock events, and retains locked files even through loss of power. So, you guys, how are we still here? There would be audio. Wow, I didn't even know that. Because I have a dash cam. For some reason, mine doesn't. I probably just have a really old one. It didn't come with my car. I added it on separately because I have a kind of an older car. But I was pulled over once, and thank God I had that because no one would have believed me and how crazy it was. It says my husband almost went to prison for 22 years over a pawned PlayStation. Oh my God. Wrathful, you're so funny. Lori says Spencer will have a great case for appeal because the judge not removing themselves. However, it will keep him running for sheriff. Yes, and to me it seems like this to me this is just insanity. There is Wrathful says, so the cops tried to delete the footage, or did I miss something? Well, they said they lost the SD card. And then they were like, well, just, here's an affidavit. Trust us. There was nothing on it. Because they're trying to say, Spencer's team is saying is spoliation of evidence. They're like, there's no way that even if you, there's no way that, because they're saying the affidavit is saying, well, there was only 4 videos and it was all when the cops showed up. And it was only forward facing camera. And he's like, no, his car actually would have had 2. It would have had from the front and the back. And there's no way that, they don't believe that, that they lost it. And if they did, that means that they didn't follow protocol. So this evidence should not even be part of this. And it says, or spoliation. And so, they shouldn't even be allowed to testify to it, anything. So let's go to this part is this one, you guys. Just, are you mad yet? Let me see if this will open. Of course it's not going to open because the link's expired. Okay. So I'm just going to have to, then I'm just going to have to tell you from my head. So they tried to pin a glass pipe from the patrol car on Spencer. Yeah. So basically, when they arrested Spencer at the scene, okay, they put him into the cop car. And when he was in the cop car, he said, he's like, "Hey guys, there's this glass pipe on the floor of your car, by the way. Like, that's not mine, but I just wanted to let you know I can see it, and you should probably do something with that." And so then they tried to pin it on him. And he's like, "I'm telling you that's mine." And he's like, "Please make sure you do a drug test on me and DNA test on me because I don't do meth and like that's definitely not mine. I'm the one who showed you. You guys probably should have cleaned your car out before you go around arresting people. You know, that's probably evidence for one of your other cases you effed up, you idiots." But Christina said, "Oh, did those cameras not work either?" I don't know. I don't know if they didn't have body cam, right? Like, but or because most of the cars, to come to think of it, that's a good question because I mean, I watch so much body cam footage and there's a lot of patrol car footage. So it's like, yeah, did the cops not have their body cams or did their cars not have like the patrol cams? So, yeah, and the fact that they were trying to pin this on him, and let me just tell you something. They are like, there's no way. They already told them how to exclude it. And so then the DA, not once, but twice made two filings about this, fighting back. And to me, it seems like they're trying to outspend him. They're trying to make him go broke and so that they can just win this case because it was so absurd. And then they finally, after the DNA test, um, they basically had to uh, admit that well, okay, his DNA wasn't on that, so we won't bring that up. We won't bring up the glass and meth pipe that we found in this car, like to make things worse for this guy who saved his daughter and should not even be charged for murder in the first place. So it gets even crazier. Oh, well, actually, we're at the most crazy. Oh yeah, okay. So actually, before we get to that, yes, there is another victim. But before we get to that, I have to show you something else because this really bothers me. Let me get to it. 1 second. Okay. Share this tab instead. Let me make sure you're all still with me. Okay. So why are they saying this was premeditated? You're going to lose your mind when I show you this. Okay. So this was the body cam. So after he, sorry, I'm going to get a sip of tea. 1 second. I'm just going to mute for 1 second, but I promise I'll. Okay, I'm unmuted. So basically, after they found out about this, what happened to their daughter, okay, he went and told a family friend who might have allegedly been the girlfriend of Fosler, okay? We don't really know. But when he told her, whatever it was, I think maybe she said something to someone. Someone was a mandatory reporter, and so they called the cops, okay? And so he didn't know that the cops are coming. So the cops come to his house because someone had told them about what he had said that happened to his daughter. Okay. Let me get to this screen. Okay. That's big enough, right? Let's see. So in this transcript, okay, I don't know who Ingram is. Okay. So I guess these are different officers. Okay. One must be the detective. Let's see if it says up here. Higgins. Well, I don't know. That's okay. But I've read this. So, okay. So Ingram, hey, sir, officer, okay, by the way, okay, Ingram, are you Aaron? Okay, so Spencer, y'all creeping around here. What's going on? So remember, the cops just came in his house. So this guy literally had just found out, okay, about what happened to his daughter. So he's going around and asking questions. And so does it say the date on here? Well, this date is obviously wrong if that's 707 because, oh, geez, let me make sure I have this date right. Well, this was only a few days after. I want to say this was like literally days after they had found out what happened to their daughter. Okay, that date's not right. Okay, so basically, he had just found out what happened to his daughter. Okay, I just wanted to keep that in context for everyone. So, are you Aaron, Spencer? Are y'all creeping around here? What's going on? Ingram, we're not creeping around. We just want to make contact with you. He's like, with me? He's like, are you Aaron Spencer? What do you need to contact me or contact with him for? And they said, well, we've got a report from the mandated reporter that your child may have been involved with a SA situation and we needed to talk to you about it. And he said, who's the mandated reporter? And they're like, well, it's a mandated reporter. He's like, cool. Who was that? And he's like, well, I'm just letting you know. So, I mean, is there any truth to this? And he's like, I don't know. And they're like, you don't know? Well, would you like to talk to us about it? And he's like, I'm not sure. And they're like, okay, and he's like, I'm not sure what's going on. And he's like, well, we're just here to help. And Spencer's like, do you got any more information than that? And they're like, well, here's what we were told. We received a call to our dispatch, and it says, who called you? And he says, sorry, a mandated reporter had to call us. Someone that you spoke with earlier is a mandated reporter she has to report what she heard you say. And he's like, and who was that? I guess this must be another male who's there. And Spencer's like, so you heard me say what? What did I say? And male says, has something been called before? Ingram says, what's that? And the male says, has something been called before? He says, no, but I'm explaining it. If we have a call saying that there's potentially may have been a child who's been SA'd, and he's like, then obviously we have to respond. The person gave your name as the person who is the father of the child that may have been SA'd. And he's like, all right. And he's like, so obviously we have to come talk to you and see if there's any truth. And he's like, well, who called and made these allegations that something might have happened? And they're like, sir, that's really not relevant. We're just asking. He's like, it's not irrelevant. And they're like, it is. It really is. I mean, we're here for the child. And he's like, then let's play the guessing game then, right? I mean, come on. He's like, no, you probably know who you spoke with today about it, about looking for someone's address. I mean, and then he said, who? He's like, and Mr. What is it? Fosler or something. And then Spencer says, who's that? And Ingram says, okay, well, I mean, we're trying to help. Okay. And Spencer says, are you? And Ingram says, yes, but we can only help so much if you're not going to talk to us. And then obviously you can. He's like, well, I just want to know who called. Okay, sorry. So it keeps going on. He's like, they're like, no one's hurt. He's like, I'm armed. Okay, so let's just keep going. And the officer's like, we're not the bad guy. We're just trying to help. And they said, we understand your emotional feelings. And then Spencer said, let me ask you a question. Okay. And they're like, yeah. And he's like, if those allegations are true, and there was a child that was SA'd, okay, what's going to happen to that man when you arrest him and prosecute him and this and that? 3 to 5? I think he means like 3 to 5 years. What? And then he's rolling around, cruising, grooming again. And the officers, like I said, I understand I have a kid. And Spencer said, no, seriously. So if it happened to your kid, right? And the officer's like, it did. And it did. And he said, and so you went to the police? And the officer's like, yeah, I did. And then Spencer's like, and how'd that work out? Where's he? Where's the accused today? And the officer's like, in prison. And Spencer's like, he's in prison. Is he serving life? And the officer said, no. And sorry, I should say, this is before his kid was kidnapped, okay? This was before the kidnapping, and this was before he had offed this guy, okay? But this was like days after he had just found out what happened to his daughter. So let me keep going. And he's in prison. He's serving life. The officer said no. And Spencer's like, no. So he's going to get back out, isn't he? And the officers said, like I said, I understand. And Spencer said, he's going to get back out, and he's going to go around and F more kids, okay? So do you think that it's logical for people to come to the police when they can't do anything about the situation? If somebody was harmed? And Ingram says, yeah, but can I say, and then the other officer's like, hypothetical, let me ask you this, okay? Let's say, for instance, someone was SA'd. He's like, and let's say the father, rightfully so, not rightfully so, but understandably so, is upset, took the law into his own hands, understandably, trust me, I understand, and does something. And that father ends up going to prison. Where does that leave the little girl? And Spencer says, why would that father go to prison? That'd be weird. I love this guy, by the way. I love Spencer. Okay, officer, hypothetically. And Spencer's like, hypothetic, right? And officer's like, hypothetically, if he did something. And then the other officer, we still don't live in a country where you can take the law into your own hands, okay? And Spencer said, bullshit. And Ingram said, okay, well, then he's like, Spencer says, if the judicial system can't do a better job, and Ingram's like, okay, well, then you'd have to face the consequences and possibly take a charge with manslaughter and Spencer said, well, hypothetically, maybe the PDF file and that father can share a jail cell, and maybe the pedophile can be the father's little effing bee. And Ingram's like, well, that wouldn't happen. And Spencer's like, you know what I mean? Officer's like, but you know who pays the price and all that, right? And Spencer's like, it's the child ultimately. And he's like, yes, it's the child, obviously. But see, here's the deal. Her life has already been ruined now, hasn't it? And he's like, so don't ruin it anymore. And Spencer's like, so what can we do then? Can you guys go get him? Can you put him in prison? And he's like, well, I mean, we have to do our investigation. So they're using this conversation to say that it was premeditated. But what they're leaving out is right after this. So this was like a 7-minute conversation. Right after the end of this conversation, you know what he does? He lets the officers go talk to his child, and he lets them do their investigation. And as a result, this man had those 43 charges that we saw. Remember all these charges? Because he cooperated. So at that point, what happened was not premeditated. He had no idea that this guy was going to get out on such a little bail. You know what I mean? He had no idea that his daughter would ever end up back in this guy's car or within a vicinity of him. There was a restraining order. So what he did was not premeditated, but the DA is using that body cam footage with that conversation where he had just found out what happened to his daughter. And in the heat of the moment, can you imagine? I mean, and I've used this example before. I forgot what I was talking about, but when sometimes you can say things hyperbole, you don't mean. Like, I remember like when my grandfather's house had an intruder and was broken into, and the cops like were at the house, and they called me, and I came over, and there's all these cops there, and in front of all these cops, I was like, is he still here? I'm gonna kill him. Obviously that I wasn't going to do that, but in the moment I was so upset. I was like so mad that anyone could do that to like this sweet old man. And I said that, and like, people, you say things in the heat of the moment, but that should not be used because he was talking this out with the cops. And isn't that crazy that even one of the cops said that the same thing happened to his kid and the guy's in prison, but not for life? You know what I mean? So, Khaleesi, how do they allow body cam footage for that? Well, because they had to, they were responding to, it was a mandatory reporting call. They were responding to it. They had to make sure they went to the house, make sure that guy maybe wasn't around. Like, they could have that. I'm surprised we don't have any body cam footage or transcripts for what happened when they came to the scene, because I would really like to know what that conversation was, especially when like Aaron Spencer was like, dude, there's like a meth pipe in this car that you just put me in. So I want to make sure you guys are aware of that, because that's not mine. And the fact that the DA was trying to pin a meth pipe on him when he was just had been through this horrific ordeal. Like, what do you think he was doing? He like lit up the meth pipe to go save his kid? Like, obviously not. So this whole case is absolutely insane, wild. Let me see what other tabs I had saved for you guys. Oh, I finally found the one that I had been saving for you guys this whole time with the, oh no, this was the response to that. And I've already linked that below. And let me make sure. Okay, so what time? Okay, so we're almost at the hour mark. So I want to show you this part this is the last crazy part. Almost the last crazy part. Rathel says, yeah, they were trying to pin that pipe on him. Can you believe that, of all things? Absolutely insane. Christina says, 2 different times and situations they should not allow. I agree. And they've like filed why they shouldn't allow it, because like it's totally different. You know what I mean? Like when he was saying that, he had just found, he was saying things. I can't even imagine what was going through his mind, but he did not do anything to that man, because there was a lot of time between when the guy was out from jail. Okay. July 11th, he was out. Between July and October. October was when his daughter went missing in the middle of the night. Oh my gosh, vague and ambitious is here, or vague and ambiguous, sorry. And which I'm so glad. I'm glad you're catching it. Wait until you see what these cops have done in this case. I mean, I know you're just coming off like the Karen Reed stuff, but this is like, it's just mind-boggling what the DA is doing here. Hey, vague, yeah. Yeah, so basically, again, so he was let out on bail, only $5,000 for those 43 child SA charges, $5,000. He was out, and that was July 11th. And then from July 11th to October 8th is when the daughter was kidnapped And he went out and he went and tracked down his daughter, saw she was in imminent danger, tracked the car down, got in a fight with Fosler and, unloaded his weapon on him, pistol whipped him, told the police that, maybe they want to come check on him because he's dead on the side of the road. And he had violated the restraining order. You know what I mean? And so that's a really long time, June, July, August, September, October, like over 3 months. So if he had really been like, if this was premeditated, you can't premeditate that. So I think they're definitely overcharging this. I think it's wildly outrageous. This judge needs to step down for sure. So let's talk about this another victim who spoke out. You guys ready for that? I'm going to take a quick sip of tea. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Vegas cooking and listening. Awesome. Well, this case, and she was with me like throughout a lot of the Cain Velasquez case, and this reminds me so much of that. And actually, I forgot to link it, but I will link it. The audiobook, if you guys want a good audiobook to listen to, that Cain Velasquez audiobook is really good. It's like one of the best I've listened to. And then I just canceled my Audible subscription because what they did to the inner city press guy. But if you still have one and you want a good case, I'm going to link that one because it's just like this. What about the DA though? I know this DA is ridiculous. Wouldn't someone like that be bringing the charges? Yeah, the DA is the one bringing the charges. Yeah, so they're just as bad. Exactly. But the judge should have removed herself. She was responsible for this man being let out. That we saw what the Supreme Court of Arkansas said to like, this is too close. Like you put this gag order that which appears you did, to hide your involvement in the reason this man was out in the first place. And so you are too close to this case. You need to step down. And she didn't. She's still on this case. It's amazing to me. Okay. Another victim speaks out. So this was from a 1981 victim, right, from Hamlin, Indiana. So apparently he is, let me go to the slide, make sure it's big enough. Yeah, so apparently, so she was babysitting for him, okay? And then he was the school resource officer and he was the town cop. And then, um, and then so when she had told the mom about the SA, they were scared. They were really scared to say anything, like to do anything, because this guy was like a cop and he was the resource officer at the school. So the mom to like reported her as a runaway to save her life, went and had her live with her father in Arkansas. And then after this case broke open for this one, after Michael Fosler was offed, she found out that this pervert had moved within walking distance of her, which she had only found out because of this case. He was a cop. He was a cop and when he lived in Indiana. So that was before he came to Arkansas. So this was back in like the 80s. But now, so I'm just saying, so and this person, and I have a link if you guys know Melanie, I think her name's attorney Melanie Little, I think is her name. And I've linked it in the description because she has a stream where the victim was on a different stream doing an interview, but that like I cannot find that video on that other stream. But she was saying that she knew she was not the only one. She had other friends. She tried to encourage them to speak up too, because they're like, this doesn't happen like out of nowhere. A 67-year-old pervert doesn't just like all of a sudden, like, groom a 13-year-old girl and then like essay her. And then, you know what I mean? That doesn't come from nowhere. He's been doing it back, this person said back to from like 1981. And she said that Jane Fosler, who is the now deceased wife, was in the room when it happened to her when she was a kid, when she was babysitting for them. And the victim said there was multiple victims. They said that Fosler also has daughters and granddaughters, and that when the mom, I guess, after the mom tried to confront him, that he tried to run this victim down with a car. So this victim was saying, at this point, that night on October 8th, when this victim was in Michael Fosler's car, I think that, sorry, I just spaced out. When he was in the car, I think that, like, somehow because, obviously he didn't come in and kidnap her. Like, they said when they went to the bedroom, like, she made it look like she was in there, like, had her stuffed animal under the covers and, like, uh and so, like, he had already contacted her. I guess they learned afterwards he had contacted her, like, previously despite the restraining order after he was let out. This is the Spencer's daughter. So, like, Michael Fosler had nothing to lose. This daughter, she was the main witness for these 43 counts. He was going to get put away for life. He had nothing left to lose. So when he probably told her, I mean, who knows what a lot of these, like, he, a lot of these creeps do stuff like they'll say, oh, I'm going to hurt your family if you don't come with me, or like, don't say anything, come with me. I have like something for you. Who knows what happened? Whatever he said got her to leave in the middle of the night. Why is he even messaging her in the middle of the night? And he had nothing left to lose. He's going to get put away for life. And, pedos are not really well received in prison by the fellow prisoners. He probably was going to have another good time and offer. That was my opinion. I really honestly think he saved his daughter's life. So now we're going to talk about jury nullification, because I'm pretty sure everyone here knows what it is, but I don't think at least in my lifetime, I have not seen it be used. I don't know if any of you guys have seen a case where it's been used recently. Math was like, oh my God, I know. I just like to share all this uplifting cases with everyone on Monday nights just to get our spirits up. The guilt his previous victims probably have for not speaking up. Wow, I know. And that's why I think she had. And she tried to encourage, because she's like, I know other people he did this to, and I want them to speak up, and they probably won't. People, they probably put this like way behind him, but just the fact, because he moved one other place between Indiana and Arkansas. And but the fact that he had tracked down like this, or I mean, I doubt it was a coincidence that the fact that he was living within walking distance of one of his previous victims who had gotten away. How creepy is that? And I guess now he was doing trucking. He was involved with some sort of trucking business or something. So, like, who knows what else happened, that fact that he didn't still stay in law enforcement, but there's just so much crazy stuff here. So I want to talk about what'd she say? Oh, you haven't personally seen jury nullification. Either have I. Yeah. So I want to say that. So basically, at its core, jury nullification occurs when a jury delivers a not guilty verdict despite believing that the defendant has broken the law. The decision is based on the evidence, isn't based on the evidence or legal arguments presented in court. Instead, it reflects the jury's belief that the law itself is unjust, the punishment is too harsh, or applying the law in that specific case would result in an unfair outcome. And I just feel like I can't even imagine finding a jury of people who would not side with Spencer. I just can't. I really can't. And in fact, if I was like a tax paying, person on that jury, I would be floored they were wasting my money on this trial. I'd be like, what are you doing? So, but what I found really interesting was, so these were famous jury nullification cases, and that they've had some lasting impact on the legal system. And so, like, what I didn't realize was some of this had come up with like, like with the Fugitive Slave Act trial. So like juries like in northern states often acquitted individuals charged with helping enslaved people escape, and that was challenging federal laws supporting slavery. So enough of this was happening that it finally got the laws to change, because like they're like, we can't keep prosecuting people who helped these enslaved people escape, because it helped change the law. But that was a really good example of jury nullification. Another one was the Prohibition Act acquittals. Many juries refused to convict defendants for alcohol-related offenses, contributing to the eventual repeal of the 18th Amendment. And then also the Vietnam War protests. Juries sometimes acquitted anti-war protesters in opposition to the Vietnam War. So, I just see this case being an example for, like, I don't believe in any vigilante justice or any in that, but to me that's not what this was. I think this was like there was clear imminent threat to his daughter. She was in the car of this guy. He had nothing left to lose. He had been charged with 43 felony, like 43 charges of child essay, related to child essay. Like this man was going away for life. There was a restraining order. He was a danger. I think he would have offed this child. I do. And the DA, you know what the DA is saying? I mean, I can't believe I have to say this, but the DA is saying that, oh, he could have just waited for 911. Like, and the wife was calling 911. The husband went out to go find his daughter, but the mom was home. She called 911. So they did call 911. But even then, look who got there first, the dad. You know what I mean? So, like, had they waited for 911, you don't know what happened. And like, there's this case that like still haunts me to this day, and I want to cover it at some point because it has one of the best experts I've ever seen on the stand. Um, but and I can't think of his name, but it was the Periwinkle case, where this girl was like kidnapped from Walmart. And when they noticed, they had called the cops, right? And they went out to look, and it was, by the time they found her, it was too late. He had already did everything. He had already essayed her, completely destroyed this little girl, offed her, and threw her in the river. And they found her in the morning. So I'm just saying, I don't know. I feel like they should have just given him a box of ammunition and been like, sorry for all those bullets you had to waste on this, taking out the trash, but thanks for helping, it's done is done. And like, I think this case, I think he could, I would be okay with him, like the prosecution settling with him for something like stupid. Like, okay, can you do some like community service and run for sheriff? Because he's already running for sheriff. So just other examples where it's not this exactly the same thing, but like, have you heard of the 1984 Gary Pluchet case? And so this guy pled guilty, he didn't even go to trial. Okay. Because even this one, which this I think was not nowhere close to what Aaron Spencer was doing, where I think like what he did, it was like an act, he had to do it, in my opinion. But with the Gary Pluchet case, and I need to link this in the bottom, but he has a whole website of all the videos. But so he had been kidnapped. This child had been kidnapped. They found him, and then they were extraditing the pedophile, like PDF file, to the airport. And this guy the dad found out from a news station what time he was landing, and he hung out in the airport. There was this like video of it. It's not going to play. Hold on. Oh, it's age restricted. What? Let me see if it'll let me play it on here. Okay, it says it's because it's graphic. Well, they have a video that's not graphic, but he basically, why isn't this working? Okay, let me put on this one. Okay, so warning, this is graphic. Can you see this? Okay, so the guy's arrested, right? They're taking him, and then the dad offs him. So that man, does it in the airport, and like his son wasn't in imminent danger then, and whatnot. But even that case, they did not, it didn't go to trial. He had probation. The prosecutors, and there was, because everyone like thought this dad was a hero. They're like, well, he did what he had to do. So even that, when he pled guilty, he had probation. He never went to jail, never saw a day in jail. So then we have, and this was an example. So I found this article from 1985. It says, father who killed alleged abuser on TV. He did it on TV. This guy avoids jail because the TV station, was there filming the predator getting arrested and coming in. Wild stuff. Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Yeah, a father who shot and offed a man suspected of abducting and essaying his son was sentenced today to 5 years probation in order to perform community service work. Exactly, community service. I think that would be enough for this case, and for the dad, for Aaron Spencer in this case. Cain Velasquez. And yeah, Vague and Ambiguous knows this one. Like, we followed this one. It just, with him, that case, I'm just going to drop or is it called Audible? The Audible book in the description, because what they did there is like, their kid he was a toddler at this daycare, and this oh my God, I could like do like a 7-hour stream on this. There's so many issues with that daycare that I found, but basically they did all the right things, like when their child told them what happened, they looked online what to do. They called a hotline that told them to make a report with the cops. They did a forensic interview with their child. The PDF file was arrested, and then the judge released him on bond and on bail. But the problem was that the next door place where they did the ankle monitors had already closed before this guy got out of hearing. So then he was like out free with it. He was supposed to have been left out on home arrest, but because they didn't have the ankle monitor, the place was closed. They're like, all right, we'll just go home with your parents for the weekend and then come back on Monday and we'll give you the ankle monitor. But the problem is that then Cain saw this family. Cain Velasquez, the dad, saw this family driving around with the pedophile in the car on Monday, right by where he lives. And it was like PTSD. He lost it, chased them down, shot at the car. Didn't actually really kill. He didn't kill anyone. He didn't off anyone. But, the stepdad took a stray in the arm. He was fine. Everyone was fine except for his child, who's still not fine because they had told their child that he had did everything he was supposed to do and that the bad guy was locked up, and the bad guy wasn't locked up. And essentially they ended up locking up the dad. And so he had Mark Argos was his lawyer in the beginning. And then I don't know what happened, if he ran out of money or what, but he ended up getting a different lawyer. And then he ended up just like letting the judge, he basically pled guilty and let the judge decide what the outcome would be. And the judge was like, his hands were tied by the law. And the judge actually was crying when he gave the sentence because he's like, your family's been through enough. Your kids need you now. And I have, because of what the charges are from the DA, my hands are tied with and so he gave him the absolute minimum, which was a year. And so he should be out, I think, after the holidays, but still breaks my heart. What did Audible do to Inner City Press? Oh my God, they removed his books, like a bunch of his work, that a lot of people are subscribed to. Like Miriam, I think she's subscribed to him, like, as basically how he makes his income. And he did one on like the Maxwell case because he covers a lot of cases that like we don't have access to because there's no cameras in federal courts. So he covers a lot of those trials, and they removed it. They didn't. He appealed it. They didn't bring it back, and then I think they said that his account was like going to be banned or something. But they removed like a bunch of his work. And so it was ridiculous. And I was really mad at them. And so I canceled my subscription, but I did listen to this whole thing first. So I'm going to link that, make sure I do that. And then let's see we're almost out of here. And also, yeah, Arkansas, they still have 16 as the age of consent. So I'm just like, Arkansas, two things: update your freaking laws. Okay. 16, no, get with the rest of the country. 18, come on, let's not even joke around. And then I have side eye for every single judge, like every single lawmaker that's been in Arkansas for like the past 100 years. Like no one thought to change that, really. And then I said remove Judge Elmore because Judge Elmore, man. And I did see, because I was like, well, like I saw some comments when I was researching this case, and someone's like, well, they can report here. I'll just do it. They're like, well, there's this easy form. You can like report the judge. And I was like, I don't know though. Like, if that's like, I don't know what the right answer is here besides like making sure we know what's going on in the courtroom. We are going to need people in the courtroom and to report what happens. And I think we need to put pressure on the DA as well to drop these charges. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. So final thoughts. Oh, and if you are still interested in this case, I saw right when I was posting it on X that I think it's Defense Diaries, and I wonder if I can link them. Hold on, let me find their stream. That's what I did. That's why I put it down here, because this is a link. Hold on. But it doesn't let me click it when it's like this. Hold on one second. Let me get their stream for you. Because the Defense Diaries, they are defense lawyers, and they're going to be covering this case tonight as well. So I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, well, that's perfect. They go on in like an hour, but I was like, if people here are interested in this, let me put it in the chat one second. So if people here are like interested in the case, you guys, like for the legal, analysis of it from like defense attorneys and whatnot, like there you go. Let me see what the chat is saying. Okay, now I'm gonna cancel mine too. Okay, I know, but so once you cancel it though, I'll tell you, because when I canceled my Audible, it said, well, I still had the rest of the month or whatever to use it. So because you haven't like after you cancel it, I think you still have it until like 30 days or something. So even though you cancel it, okay, make sure that I would listen to this. If you're interested in like a good Audible book, I thought it was really extremely well done. I want to bug some other creators to follow this as well. So I know I'm surprised there's not more. Well, because you know why? Actually, when I was doing my research, you can tell where the gaps are was because of that gag order. So after that gag order, you didn't have access to documents, but now and I put it in the let me share this tab. Can you guys see this? So I put the link in the description, but this is all of this is free to see. Now we can see all these documents. And now most of the filings are in because they have their pretrial hearing on Wednesday. And then the trial would be in January. So, I think, oh no, this is a motion for another lawyer. Yeah. So a lot of the people subpoenaed we can't see. But there's been a lot of things filed in here. I highly recommend reading the November 14th one. Let me go to that because I feel like this was long. I was going to read this on the stream, but then like it would be going on forever and ever and ever. But because this was like oh yeah, this was the name. You guys, there's like, do you see this? This Higginbotham. That was Fosler's girlfriend. And so supposedly that was the family friend of Spencer's. And that was how Fosler got the daughter's phone number. And I don't really understand. I tried looking this person up. I couldn't even find anything. And I'm usually pretty good at finding things. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. Lori, you guys are still in this Audible thing. Oh, I got interested because of my cousin. If you have credits on Audible, will you lose them? I think so. Yeah. So maybe use those up first. Vague and Ambiguous says, Defense Diaries is pretty awesome. They're a lovely attorney couple. And I think I was following them for, what is it? The Richard, what was his name? Richard Allen case. And I feel like he went to, because that was another federal one where there was, and this one, Aaron Spencer is not federal, it's a state, but this judge is just not allowing cameras. And where's the law and crime or, court TV I was looking to see if they were going to file anything for, cameras in the courtroom on Wednesday, and they haven't. So I don't know if they don't know that the gag order has been lifted or what, but I'm just like, maybe because it's in Arkansas, I don't know, but I feel like the state allows streaming. They allow cameras in their state court. So I'm just like, where are all these big networks? Like, do I have to file something? But I'm not there. There's no way I'm going to be able to do it. I mean, maybe is there like, if anyone, well, I only know Lori's the closest person we know who knows someone in Arkansas, but I don't know if we have to hit up those stations and be like, is anyone going to like try to file something before Wednesday? But we're just not, I just feel like we're not going to see what happens basically at the end of the day. And that's why I like Defense Diaries. Yeah, because they went to Delphi and I think the husband was there to give us notes on the judge of like what was going on. Like people literally had to sleep outside to get into that case. Just not Judge Gall. Yeah, she was awful. Yeah, you're surprised the DA's Arkansas DA's office is doing this. I know, me too. The pickup Audibles Slack. I'll pick up Audible Slack. Okay, that'll be cool. But I really like that Cain was, and let me just because it's when I'm in this, it doesn't let me do the link. So hold on. I just want to link it for you now so I don't forget. Because it was like one of the people who did this It was Breaking Justice, yeah. One of the authors, she is a like a federal prosecutor. So it was like a really good it was a great summary of the case. It was just like I don't know, I felt like it was worth listening to because there's it goes back, and I have all the files for this too. For this case. So I eventually want to do something bigger on it, but like he is gonna, he's gonna be okay. But he got so screwed on this case. Okay. I have that link there. Let me just put it in the chat. Oh yeah, please like and subscribe. That'd be awesome. So anyways, that other stream will start in a little bit. Do you guys have any questions or anything on this? So my final thoughts would basically just be like, wow, this case is crazy. I think this guy is a hero. The more I read on him, the more I love this guy. Really, I think it's amazing he's running for sheriff. Like, oops, let me go back to this one. It's amazing he's running for sheriff, and I think he's gonna make changes in that state. I think he is, and I think his daughter is just. I think we're all so lucky that this story didn't end worse than it could have, because I think that if this judge, she's lucky that the daughter is still alive. She should be thankful Spencer did what he did, because if if Fosler had offed this girl, that would be on the judge for sure. That would, and maybe she doesn't have a conscience, maybe she wouldn't care, but Aaron Spencer did that judge a favor, I think, because this all happened because of her, and it could have been so much worse. I'm gonna get this book. I need to listen while I clean tomorrow. Vague, it is so good. I mean, I wasn't always like a podcast person. I'm more of like a YouTube person, but I listened to it because I was so invested in the King case, and they covered stuff so well. They really did their work, and it's really well done. Like, they had a good production team, and I don't know if it was like, when it was really for a podcast, it was really well done. DFJ, if you're interested in a fun time, I have a complete audiobook on my channel that I read. I guarantee you'll love it. Oh, you do? Okay. That's awesome. Okay, I already proposed it to another creator. Can I send this video to them? Yeah, my video? If you think that it'd be useful, of course, that'd be great. I mean, you guys, I still am like under 1,000 subscribers, and if I don't hit 1,000 at the end of the year, I was going to retire. So yeah, definitely spread it. I'm thinking I might try to go visit my cousin and go to trial in January. Yeah, January 26th. But make sure that on the 17th, we see if they post any updates, if the calendar gets changed or anything. Why isn't it that the judge didn't recuse herself in trouble? Because they had only ordered for her to the gag order reversed, but because that's what was filed, what they appealed was the gag order, so that's all they ruled on. But they suggested she step down. But I want to know why his lawyers didn't file something to make her remove herself. But maybe they know that she would be the one in charge and she wouldn't. But now they know that how the Supreme Court feels. So even if she didn't, then they could appeal to the Supreme Court, and they know that they would agree with them and have her removed. So, I mean, that's why I don't understand what's happening here. And maybe they'll bring it up on Wednesday. I don't know. Why was the guy that records court cases for anyone removed from Audible? Did they give a reason? Yeah, they said it was like, I think they said it like the Maxwell one was like raunchy or something. I mean, it violated their terms. Like, it was literally, it's a court case. And I've seen some of the stuff on Audible. Like, what? Please don't retire, DFJ. Yeah. Okay, I'll try not to. Vague says, my only comment is, when will we get more DFJ lives? Please hit like and subscribe. You'll not retire. Okay, thank you. That means a lot. Khaleesi said it's quality. Oh, that's true. It is quality versus quantity. And that's true. Like, we do have the best chat. And actually, on that note, right before we go, I have one more thing I want to do. And that is I have more memberships to give out for this month. So hold on one second. Membership gifting. Okay. I'm just gonna give out just 5 more memberships because I do have the best chat. It is quality. I love everyone here. And oh yay, Vague, you got one. Oh good, Trish got one. You know who still hasn't gotten one is Christy, and she's here all the time, and she's like an OG member. And for whatever reason, every time I give memberships, she doesn't get one. It's insane. I think you have to check your settings, Christy. Awesome, one person here got it. I know. Remember that day when, like, no one in my chat was getting it? It's just ridiculous. So, on that note, you guys have half an hour before the defense diaries goes on if you wanna catch them, and I will appreciate you all being here. I think this is a great case. I will keep you posted on it. I'm gonna put more links in the description after in case I forgot any here, and I will talk to you all soon, okay? So have a great Monday, and thank you to my mods. Thanks, Christina. Thank you, Just Khaleesi. Thank you so much.